If you were to visit the town of Wellsworth, you would probably be greeted by Trevor, who trundles along with his goods for the vicarage orchard. You would also see Gordon and Edward race by with their passenger trains, always whistling hello, as well as Boko slowly making his way with his goods train. However, you would probably also meet George. To get a friendly whistle from him is simply unheard of. George hates the railway. If not, he loathes it. He believes the railway is stealing his jobs and wouldn't want more than to flatten it and get rid of it.
Railways are no good. Turn them into roads. Pull them up. Turn them into roads.
Ugh, why can't Mr. Roly-Poly go roll off a cliff? No engine likes him, even Devious Diesel. He and George often get in intense arguments. One day, George was on his way to work at Elsbridge Harbor. He was grumbling as usual about the railway. About halfway there, he came to a crossing with the gates closed. Boko was slowly making his way with his goods train. George grew more and more impatient.
Come on, I need to get to work!
You can't cross when the gates are closed. I've had many bad experiences with that.
Ha! I could make it if I ran across.
When Boko had crossed, George snorted across the rails. He was held up at 2 more crossings before he reached the station, where Stanley was waiting to take him and Trevor to Elsbridge Harbor.
Railways hog up the road. They keep us rollers waiting at crossings for them to dawdle by. It's disgraceful.
Better to be a little late than flattened by a train.
He's right. Although a train may be going slow, they cannot stop at once.
Ah! I could just dart in front of them, and they wouldn't even need to stop. I'd roll by before they could hit me.
Mark my words, he'll get himself squished if he isn't careful. A few days later, the gates at the level crossing were broken and had to be fixed. The only thing warning vehicles about approaching trains was a light that turned red whenever trains got within 500 yards of the crossing. When George came up, the light was red. He had to wait. Bulgy was in front of him.
I hate crossings. Crossings can bite my shiny metal back wheels.
Bulgy smiled.
What you need to do in situations like these is live dangerously. What do you mean? Like this!
And Bulgy shot forward across the tracks. He reached the other side just as Diesel flew by with his trucks.
Double-decker clodhopper!
YOLO!
George was very impressed. The light went green, and he headed on his way.
Live dangerously. I need to live dangerously. If Bulgy can do it, surely I can too.
George worked at Sodor Harbor that day, repaving roads. Jack and Terence helped too, but took no notice to George's boasting. As George was returning home, he came to the crossing again. The light was red, but there was no train in sight.
I'll show them!
George trundled across the crossing, but didn't see Edward coming around the bend.
Oh dear, driver, look out!
The driver slammed on the brakes. Fortunately, George got off the rails just in time. The passengers were very startled by the sudden jerk and were very cross.
Ha! Nothing happened. I shall do as I please from now on.
Further down the line, George came to another crossing with no gates. Instead of stopping to look both ways, he kept going.
Get out of my way, you wretched rolling pin! Ah! Those wretched road vehicles. They think they're immortal.
Later, Edward was talking with Henry about George.
He must think that the rules don't apply to him.
Isn't it obvious?
I'm just worried about the passengers. If I had hit George, not only would I have derailed, but my passengers could have been seriously injured. Or worse.
That roller and that bus act as if they were raised by a gang of hooligans on a poor American street.
They see me rolling, they're hating.
Silence, you filthy vermin!
Hey, go easy on the trucks, man. Oh, look, there's Gordon. Apparently he had quite a bad experience with George, didn't you, Gordon?
Ha! I showed him who's the boss, and I hope I will never have to do it again. George was feeling very pleased with himself and rattled up to another crossing. Trevor was behind him.
What's this, Trevor?
That's enough of this crossing jumping. You stay here until the train has passed.
Your driver's right, man.
George was furious. He fumed as he waited and waited for Rosie to pass, which seemed like ages.
She's taking forever! This is why you don't hold me up at a crossing!
As soon as Rosie was gone, George fumed across the crossing.
Railways are no good. Turn them into road. Come on, turn them into road.
What a road rebel!
The next day, George was back at Sudbury, rolling away at the ballast. He was just about to move to another section when the foreman spoke to him. "We need some more ballast. There's a shipment ready at Wellsworth. Please go over there and fetch some." So George headed off. Meanwhile, Gordon was rushing down the line at a tremendous speed. His passengers were having a lovely time, and Gordon was very pleased. "Roger may be the fastest, but I am the greatest." George reached the crossing before Wellsworth. The light had turned red, but there was no engine in sight. George waited and waited, but no engine came. He noticed that his driver wasn't paying attention. No one knows what happened next, but George somehow shot forward under the crossing just as he heard Gordon's whistle. Then, George's wheel got caught in one of the rails. His driver panicked. George couldn't move. There was no use in trying to set George free, so the driver jumped out and ran for his life. What the? Oh no, not again! There was no way Gordon could stop. An accident could not be prevented. No one was hurt, and Gordon's front was only slightly bent. Oh my God! George, on the other hand, was wrecked. One half of him lay in the bushes, and the other, his cab, was on the other side of the crossing.
Well, I'm sure he learned his lesson. He won't be darting across crossings now.
Just think, if he had been a few feet behind, he could have seriously injured or killed someone. George's driver spoke to him. "Well, George, you know the rules are there for a reason." George said nothing. "It'll be quite a while before you're fixed. Perhaps you'll start to think from now on." George did think about Bulgy. After George was taken away to be fixed, Stanley took some trucks down to the docks. He stopped at the Vicarage Orchard, where he met Trevor. Stanley told Trevor all about the incident.
Well, I'm glad he's not dead. but finally I'll get some peace at last.
I don't think he may have deserved it, but he won't be bothering us for a while. No more Mr. Road Rebel with rollers.
And with that, Stanley continued on his way.